All right, we're here with Diane Martin, owner of Hardbean. Thanks for letting us do the first live show. So the idea of this was, I have my normal episodes every Saturday that are recorded in a studio. I wanted to do a live event to see if I would have strangers come through and just chat about something random for 5 minutes and then kind of put it all together into one episode. So
Awesome.
we're not streaming; it's recorded, and then I'll go back and edit it. But you have a really cool story about how you got started, because you were in retail for many years, and just tell us about how you became the owner of a coffee shop.
Sure. Long story made short, I worked 33 years retail.
Wow.
I had Texas and Louisiana as my territories, and noticed that there was a need for a meeting space. I used to put together a lot of trainings and meeting classes, and there was never a place other than huge hotels. So that was one of the first things I wanted to look at. And then, of course, you got to have food, and, hey, you got to have coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just kind of put a business plan together, and it's working really well. We're starting year 5.
Yeah, and earlier I had John on, and he mentioned that he said, I got to get you to tell the pickle story.
Okay. Okay. So every business, every person who wants to present themselves to a customer has to have something that I call the pickle. In other words, you have to have something that you do different from anyone else.
Right.
And it shows appreciation to your customer in your way. It's your unique way of doing it. And how it all started was the story of the pickle of a gentleman had a ice cream shop that served lunch foods.
Right.
And he had a customer come in, and the customer asked the waitress, could I please have some pickles for my hamburger? And the waitress told him she was going to charge him 75 cents for pickles for his hamburger. And he got upset, and he left the restaurant over 75-cent pickle. So he wrote a letter to the owner and said, I'll never go to your establishment again. I cannot believe you, did this. And the owner sat the waitress down and said, why were you going to charge him for pickles? We don't charge for pickles. And she didn't know any different. And he was like, his philosophy from then on was just give him the pickle.
Right. Yeah.
So what I would do in my business, where I would train managers that had to, the whole thing was retail, we sold to customers, was to teach them to find their pickle in their store.
Right.
What was something they could do that was unique in their own building that would create loyalty, would create just that customer interaction, that customer connection that was different.
Yeah, the pickle
Why
is
come to them?
metaphorical.
Right. Very metaphorical. It's just like even a real estate agent can have something they use, one person office, something they do with no other, no one else does.
Yeah.
What can you do?
And there's so many cool things that you do that are unique. I know one time I got a to-go order and for a sandwich, because there's more than just coffee here. You've got desserts, baked goods, really good paninis and lunch. So I got a to-go order and opened up the lid, and on the inside of the lid was an inspirational message.
Correct.
And then I thought that was really cool. Maybe was it there? Is that part of the styrofoam? Well, then it came back again the next day and got another. It's a different quote. It's totally individual to every person. And I've run into people in the community that said something happened in their day, and somehow that message spoke directly to what was going on. I'm sure you've heard that too.
I have heard. That's our pickle. You've already figured out what is our pickle. It's what could we do different. And to be honest, a long story made short, I started out where I wanted to handwrite a letter to every customer that came in. Just a little note, inspirational, just to uplift their day.
Right.
And my mother was in a very bad car wreck. She's 84, and it broke all the bones in the interior of her body, her back, her ribs, just everything. And her thoughts was, why should I keep living if I'm in this much pain? And so to help her, I said, Mom, I need you to come to work with me, and I need you to do nothing but sit there and write in boxes for me because I can't keep up.
Right.
So I would give her a list of all the different inspirational messages that I had pulled together and just tell her, sit there and just write these. And over time, over the last couple of years, she's completely healed. She's working a lot with me now, but that's now her job. And she takes it very seriously. She goes out and she searches books. She searches the internet for just all types of messages.
Right.
But what is so cool is seeing how each one of these messages touches someone. We love to like look at it and go, oh, that's what this person's getting today, because we never know who's
Yeah.
getting what message, because she
Right.
writes 100 of them at a time,
Right.
and then the stack is there, so, and none are the same.
Wow.
So she has a few favorites that she'll repeat, I'm sure, but everybody gets a unique message meant for them.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how, since they're pre-made and the timing of one person coming in and getting the one previously, and then it spoke to the person that comes in right after, and that so many things in the universe have to happen in order for that to be on time.
We had a customer come in yesterday, and she got a message from us, and then later in that day, she got a message in the little Dove candy bars. You know, they have little messages inside them
Right.
as well. And it wasn't word for word, but it had the same meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of the two messages coming to her in the same day, both of them telling her to make a change and make a move,
Wow.
she decided to move back to
Because
this
just think
area.
if you got somebody coming down from the north and they're turning in the turning lane, and then somebody coming from the south and they're both coming to get here, this red light, this person gets here first, other than that person, and then they get a message. There's so many
like
things.
whose
so many-
message was meant for her. No, everybody
Right,
who gets
yeah,
their message,
yeah.
it was meant for them.
And there's other cool things. You've got merchandise, different vendors. You've got artwork. You've got a great big meeting space
Yes,
back
we
there.
do. We do all types of baby showers, wedding showers, birthday parties, all kinds of stuff.
So
like
many
that.
creative things. Jillian over there sitting next to you even brought up the idea of one day maybe using the meeting room to do a morning yoga.
Actually, we have yoga in there on Tuesday nights.
Oh, it's already here. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, and also, let's see, you sell some coffee that's in.
we do pre-made bags of coffee. You can
Yeah.
buy whole beans or ground,
Okay,
whichever you
nice.
prefer.
Yeah.
But the meeting room is used for multi-purposes. So yeah, yoga is definitely something.
Yeah,
that
you've got people
she could
that
talk to us
they're
about.
doing full blown work here sometimes. Students. There's many people that are still here from the time I got here.
They're actually working on a college. It's a nursing group, and they're working on a book that they have to complete with each other, or workbooks.
Yeah, I think the first one of that group that I saw, they're back there, but he ordered 2 shots of espresso by itself in a
Just
cup.
to start his day off.
I was like, wow, he is about to be moving. So, well, thanks for sitting down. I know it's busy
welcome.
and probably getting ready for the lunch crowd, so I'll let you head back there. But thanks so much for letting us do this.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think there's a
I think
couple
it was
couple
fun.
more people, and then
Have you had
we'll get-
people like step up and want to do it?
Yeah, I did have some strangers, so that was really cool. I brought my friends just in case. And I was talking earlier, I'm never nervous in front of people. I got nervous today because this was something different.
Something
so,
new and
yeah.
exciting. Because
Now-
sometimes you got a lot of distraction going on behind you.
Well, I think it's cool. I like the background noise of like the grinding and the people ordering, and I've got the camera set up so your menus in the background and people ordering. So I like the activity.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was something new to do.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad
All
it
right.
worked out for you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
So, okay. So Helen asked me a question that nobody's ever asked me before, right? And that was why I started a podcast, and it's a reason that you wouldn't think of because it's very deep. So I'll try to compartmentalize this. So having a podcast, I believe, may be a way that I can have immortality, and I'll explain. So after I get to the level of you guys of hundreds of episodes, that's hours and hours of content where I've probably said every word at least once, every word, almost every word that you commonly say. And we don't have the technology right now, but in the future, maybe after I'm gone, that content's still going to be out there. And how cool would it be if I could download my consciousness into some sort of artificial intelligence that may be a computer program, maybe a robot, and my great grandchildren could interact with me just like you would sitting here today. I believe that technology is going to be possible, and it won't be possible for people that don't have a podcast because they're not going to have those words. I've got the video, I've got the audio, I've got my mannerisms, how I react, emotions and things, all recorded digitally. And it's similar to, if you've ever seen Superman, he did this with his dad. Like, Superman came here as an alien, he was a baby, and he had a hologram that he would use to communicate with his dad. And it wasn't pre-recorded. It would react, it was a conversation. And even though his dad was dead, that hologram reacted to questions in sort of an artificial intelligence way. So I believe that, obviously I created it because it's fun. And I love my guests, and it's fun to learn more about them. But the real reason for having all this content would be to perpetuate my mind and download my consciousness.
You're in a sense creating a legacy document, a
Right.
legacy recording of who you are.
Yeah, it's crossing your fingers for technology that doesn't exist right now, that may exist in the future. And I think people that have podcasts or that are in the media may be the only people that are able to do that. How else would someone do that, So
Yeah.
So I'm glad y'all asked that, because I've been holding on to that answer, because nobody's asked me, like, so what did you start? And usually say, well, it's fun, something to do. It's a side hustle. It's fun. But that's the real reason.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It is. And
So-
who knows that one of these days there might be that technology available so that somebody might say, Tyler, tell me what I should do today. What should I do about this?
And that computer program can react the same way that I would, because
Right.
it'll be able to, because we're going to get to that level of artificial intelligence where, say I have 1,000 episodes, it can process those 1,000 episodes, the video, the audio, the mannerisms, like in seconds. It's like there's already a computer like that that it can read books. It reads thousands of books a minute. They're just faster, so it can take in that information and create a digital version of me. And that would just be cool to have for, you can just go 2 generations. Like I knew my grandparents, I knew like maybe one great grandparent, and then after that, nothing. I have no clue. I don't even know what they look like or sound like. But there's so much digital content now with social media and things that there's going to be enough that this may be possible. Yeah. And there'll be bad versions of it for people that don't have a podcast. So it'd be kind of wonky and generic. All this content, it's going to happen. So.
You're making me excited that I have a podcast now.
Yeah, there you go. Unfortunately for me, it'll start 37. I got that 37 years age and on. There's not going to be any history of before that. But so start as soon as you can.
This is true.
All right. Well, I'll see what the next friend wants to get on and say. And then it's on video too. So that's always fun.
Yeah,
So-
I want to ignore the video because we don't do video.
Yeah, so every one of my podcasts are on YouTube, and then also all the audio. There's iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, which is all audio. But then there's also a YouTube version, because some people like to watch podcasts. And I draw a lot of my inspiration from Joe Rogan. And his video is almost just as entertaining as the audio. So I try to, I'm not copying him or trying to be Joe Rogan. It's just that's where I get a lot of the creative inspiration from. But yeah, I'm here with Jerry and Helen, and if finally, I brought a lot of friends to the live show. This is the first time experimenting with the live show, and I finally got some strangers, so I'm super excited that y'all came and saw the event on Facebook, and you're actually podcasters yourself.
We are. We have been doing a podcast now for about 3 years.
Okay.
We'd have the podcast called The Heart of Hospice. We both work in hospice, and Helen's a registered nurse. I'm a chaplain, and so we've been in hospice now. I'm going on 9.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Helen's-
so definitely a veteran podcaster compared to myself. I'm the rookie. So, yeah, I'm 7. Today would be episode 17, the one that's out right now with food blogger Lauren Bebo from Southeast Texas Foodies. That one came out. It's usually every Saturday at 8 a.m. whenever I launch. And so, how many episodes do you guys have? Probably hundreds.
We're working into the hundreds now. 150 something, I think, was 157 was the last one, and that's weekly. We do 2 different episodes. We'll do a weekly episode, and we do a bi-monthly episode where the weekly is a short episode that we just do together.
Okay.
And then the monthly is what we call a full length, somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour most of the time, where we do interviews. And so we've interviewed, unless you're a hospice nerd like we are, well, you may not recognize some of the names. We've interviewed people like Barbara Carnes, Ido Bannock, who's the president and CEO of the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization, David Kessler, who is a well-known name among the hospice industry.
Yeah.
Who else have we? Tom Baddock is one that we interviewed, which is kind of an interesting guy. Tom Baddock is the creator of Funky Winkerbean, the cartoon.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so we have interviewed him as well. It's very interesting.
I'd imagine.
I would like, people, if they're interested in that, you can go listen to that particular episode in our bank.
So where all can you find your podcast?
We are on Spotify.
Okay.
Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, radio.com, and then Stitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty much all the popular places.
It is. It is, yeah. So the most popular one, I think, is Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, for sure. And you always got to have Spotify for the non-iPhone people, because I would imagine if you have a Google phone or an Android phone, you don't have iTunes. So they usually go to Spotify and Google Play.
Yeah. That's really what I go to, is Spotify all the time. That's where I listen to most of my podcasts.
So do you have your own studio set up, or is it kind of, a lot of people start out of their house, I guess, but you've been doing it for a while?
You want me to take it? Can you hear me?
Yeah, here, I'll,
I'm gonna edit right now.
we'll pop this out of here and you can kind of hold it. There you go.
So we do have sort of a studio. We tried a couple of different places to see how it could work out, but, like a meeting room at church, that kind of thing. But now we're set up in my home office.
Okay.
/ one of my kids' old bedrooms.
Right.
But we've got, boom mics and a big mixer. And so we've got space to spread out everything.
Nice.
And it's homemade, it's just us sitting there, yoga pants and tennis shoes, that sort of thing.
And that's the coolest thing about podcasts is you don't have to go to a corporation or a radio station and pitch your idea and say, hey, would this be a good idea? Would you guys have me on? You don't have to ask anybody. I spent a fractional amount of money just to get, this equipment that you see here today. That's just a webcam. And then as soon as you click publish, it's global. Not just statewide or nationally, but people across the entire planet can listen to your episodes.
Yeah, and it felt a little weird. I remember the day that we launched, we were actually both traveling for work in different places, and it was like all of a sudden it's this worldwide thing that anybody could access. And I think I was a little freaked out.
Yeah.
And so we had got our first 100 downloads, and you would have thought we won a lottery.
Right. I remember that feeling too.
Yeah. And now we're over. What's our accumulation?
We typically do about 4,000 downloads a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to the level of maybe having sponsors and things like that?
We've thought about it, but it's strictly a side hustle.
Right.
So we do want to monetize it at some point, but that's a whole different level of focus. And we don't. We try to have personal lives still, and we both work full time. So.
Well, tell us a little bit
that.
about the concept of hospice for those that may not be familiar with it.
Okay, so hospice is for persons who are terminally ill or seriously ill is the term we use these days. So people who have a life expectancy of about 6 months or less. It's care at the end of life that provides for mind, body, and spirit, and there's a whole team of people that take care of our patients, and we go to wherever they live. And it's all about symptom management and quality of life. So we let them be comfortable in whatever way is important to them.
Yeah, it's interesting dynamic now that modern medicine, we're living a lot longer, but we're this kind of sack of organic tissue that just doesn't last very long. Once you get to, like the 90s and, if you make it 100, you're still there, but man, your quality of life is just sometimes so just depending on the situation, it's cool that we're able to live that long, but it almost gets to a point where you can't do much
Exactly.
at some of those later years.
Well, and so hospice teams are set up to make the patient successful in whatever quality of life means for them. For some people, it's just simple stuff, being able to get up and have some sort of energy. For other people, it's to be able to spend time with family or with pets. I mean, it can mean 100 million different things to different people. It just depends. And a lot of times quality ends up being not having pain or being able to breathe comfortably. You know, it begins a lot of more emphasis on the physical.
What would you say is an illness that you would be really excited if we could get better care for or a cure for? If you had
That's an easy one.
What
Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's disease.
I was going to think the same thing, because once you lose your mind, you really lose who you are.
And along with the mental deterioration, there's physical deterioration, since the brain is the control panel of everything.
Yeah.
So it chips away at that person a piece at a time.
And the whole caregiving system with Alzheimer's is different than with any other disease, because they can, with other diseases, the caregiver can take a break for a while.
Right.
With Alzheimer's, there's no break. It's like having a child.
For
again.
sure.
So it's a very different caregiving system. It's harder, much harder.
Right, and because the disease trajectory is so long, you know, that caregiving system, and we say system, assuming there would be more than one person, when a lot of times there's only one, you're talking about years.
Yeah.
Years of single caregiving. It's really hard. So that, I have to say that would be my number one choice.
Yeah, I would have to agree. That it actually struck my mom when she was very, very young. So it was like pre-Medicare. So she was like 63, you know, and typically it's later in life. So she needed, you know, full-time care, and she hadn't got to the age of Medicare yet. You know, luckily she still had private insurance, but usually Medicare can help supplement a lot. She wasn't old enough. So we had to get like special approval to get like early Medicare. And it's a funny story that I usually tell. She ended up going to the nursing home here in Lumberton, and she still looked very young. She was a tennis player and a tennis coach, so she still had what I say, not the old people hair, I guess you would say, where it's teased. So she had like long flowing blonde hair, just like you, Helen. And so she would escape the nursing home because they thought she was a visitor. You know,
oh, that's hilarious.
Because she didn't fit in with the crowd.
She didn't look like a typical little old lady.
And she was wearing like a windbreaker and athletic clothes. So we ended up moving her to the Silsby facility that was kind of on lockdown. But it was cool because they had a courtyard, and none of them went to their rooms. They were always in that common area, you know, hanging out with each other. And I would take my son to go visit, and she would get really happy because she thought my son was me, but she didn't know who I was, so she didn't really care. But it was fun to watch her interact with my son at the time. But it progressed so fast that she ended up passing away because, like you said, it overtakes your system. The central nervous, or the CPU of your body, can't tell you that you're hungry or you need to eat or you need to do anything, and it kind of just shuts everything down.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And, you know, with technology, you were talking about the advances in healthcare. I mean, we have incredible advances, and we've got this group of people, these baby boomers who are getting ready to age in. They're calling it the silver tsunami because it's going to be so big. And we have all this technology. We're going to keep you alive and make your quality of life even better. We can fix everything. And what we experience in hospice is it's really hard to reverse that mindset. Our bodies are born knowing how to shut themselves off.
Right.
And we try to interfere with medical advancement.
I think the future is going to be stem cell therapy, possibly. There's some really exciting things that are being done with that. Unfortunately, they're in other countries because it's so slow to get passed through here. There's doctors that live here, and they'll fly their patient to Panama for stem cells. In the U.S., we have kind of like intramuscular injection stem cells, but not IV stem cells. And it was Mel Gibson's dad. Of course, money's not an object with someone like that, but he flew his dad down there and had the IV stem cells, and it made him feel like 20 years younger. You know, he was like in his 90s, and I mean, it was amazing how he went from not being able to do anything to having those IV stem cells. So,
You know, the U.S. is like that with hospice too.
lots
We were
of
late
regulation.
coming to the game. Coming to the game. And yeah, we're highly regulated.
Sure.
But I mean, every part of the healthcare industry is
Yeah.
in the United States. But we were late coming to hospice. Europe, Great Britain, much more advanced, a lot sooner.
Yeah, we're behind on maternity leave, staying home with your child after the baby's born. Nothing for the dad, to get maternity leave. Yeah. So yeah, there's a few things. It's interesting how companies like we have in our backyard, like Total Petrochemicals, they're owned by the French, and all their HR goes from France. So they actually have programs like that sometimes with a foreign-owned company.
That's pretty cool. For the dad to have maternity leave, my husband would have hated that.
Yeah. And I don't know about for the dad, but I know Total has like a better plan for the women. Like they give them almost like, 3 months at just a slightly reduced salary.
Well, hospice didn't
something
come,
to that nature.
Hospice didn't come to the United States until the mid-'60s.
Wow.
Where in Europe they had been doing it for years before that. And it was actually a Brit that brought it over here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Dame Cicely Saunders was the one who brought it over here.
Okay.
She had started what we call the modern hospice movement way back in the 50s in London, and built the first inpatient unit, St. Christopher's Hospice there in London. And then we had a group of people here in the United States who asked her to come over and help us to develop that here. And it was from there that we continued to develop it. And finally in 1982 was when the hospice Medicare benefit started.
Oh, wow. That was the year I was born. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was that long ago. That long ago, that hospice Medicare actually started here in the United States.
Right.
So we've come a long way, but we still got a long ways to go.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Is there anything else you want to tell the people?
we would love for everyone to come check out our podcast at The Heart of Hospice. We have a website as well, theheartofhospice.com, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram also.
Excellent. I'll definitely have to check it out after today. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for being the first strangers to come on. I gotta trying to get out of the comfort zone here. All right, that's great.
How's it going, Tyler?
Doing good. We're here with Ty Coudrain. Ty. And all right, so here's the question of the day. When we were kids, we've all seen Snow White, most of us, the cartoon of Snow White. And there was the evil lady, I don't know, whatever she was called. It wasn't, in Cinderella was the stepmother, but Snow White was just like a,
Wasn't it
it was a witch.
witch with the horns or something?
Yeah.
Or something?
So she says something to the mirror, right? What did she say?
You talking about Snow White or the witch?
The witch. She says,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the something of them all?
okay.
I guess.
So what if I told you that if you go back and watch that movie, she did not say mirror, mirror on the wall. She said magic mirror on the wall.
Interesting.
Nobody from our generation remembers it as magic mirror. They all, I did it to her. I've asked people, what would you say if everybody remembers it as mirror, mirror on the wall? But if you go, you can look it up on YouTube, find the clip. It says magic mirror. So there's a phenomenon called the multiverse, and it's predicted that something happened when CERN flipped on the switch of the Large Hadron Collider and shifted us into a parallel version of the universe.
Oh, yeah.
And the universe that we lived in, it said mirror, mirror on the wall, and that's why we remember it that way. And now we're in this shifted lane where it says magic mirror, and that's why it
Okay.
and that's why we remember it that way and other people remember it the other way.
I'll go with that. Maybe some of my socks that I've lost. Maybe some of my socks that I've lost are in the parallel universe. Maybe that's where they went.
Yeah, that happens to everyone.
Or the dryer. Maybe one.
But this phenomenon is called the Mandela effect.
Is that what it is?
So
I've heard of it.
So are you familiar with Nelson Mandela?
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember him as?
Okay, so let me think about it now that now that this trend is here. I'm probably reference the wrong thing. So, wasn't Nelson Mandela the guy in Africa who he was in prison for a long time?
Right.
and got out of prison. He was fighting apartheid, and he passed away, a couple years ago now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's
Pull that up.
Yeah. Jamie, look that up. Jamie.
I've never had one before. I have a young Jamie now.
So, so Nelson Mandela. So I've heard of the Mandela effect. I don't know how how that ties in.
Do you remember him dying in prison, or do you remember him becoming the president of?
So he became the president.
Oh, so let's. Okay.
Okay, so more than a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember him.
And what was he the president of? What was he the president of? South Africa.
South Africa. Okay.
So there's generations of people that remember him being president of South Africa, and there's generations of people that remember him dying in prison.
So he didn't die in prison, though.
But there's a generation of people that's all they know.
Oh yeah.
They have no memory of him being president of South Africa. They remember him dying in prison, and that's another one of those.
Oh, that's where the Mandela effect comes into play.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Okay.
Shifted.
Yeah. Now I don't have to look it up later. That was on my long list of things to look up. Believe it or not, it was. So that's cool. So it's not mirror, mirror on the wall. It's magic mirror on the wall.
On the wall.
Wow. I don't know if as a kid I actually ever saw Snow White. I don't know.
There's another movie that is called The Peanut Butter Solution, and it's a movie where a kid gets scared and his hair falls out, and then he puts the peanut butter on his head and the hair grows. Do y'all remember seeing that movie?
I don't remember that at all.
Nobody does, but everybody saw it. So if you go, if you look it up, and you go to like the YouTube comments or the Amazon comments, once you watch the trailer, you're like, yeah, I think they even showed it in school. It was like one of those, and it depends on your age. Like, there's no way Jillian's seen it probably, but those of us that were born in the 80s probably saw it, and everybody completely forgot about it. You remember stuff like, oh yeah, I saw that, but everybody is freaking out when they see this trailer. Like, I completely forgot about that movie and never thought about it from the time I saw it until now. And there's some type of a hypnotic amnesia that happens in that movie or at the end, and it causes everyone to forget about that movie. And there's nothing like to reference any other movie like that. Like all the cartoons we saw when we were kids, all the Little Rascals, Sandlot, and everybody. It's all commonplace. But that one particular movie has this phenomenon that everybody saw it and everybody forgot about it until they're reminded about it.
Huh, interesting. I look forward to when you finish today up, listening to some of the other conversations you've had, because it looks like you've had some interesting ones. We've been, I was trying to stay off the mic today because I think my brain power today is not going to yield too much for good recording. But
that was why I picked you to ask that question. You would be the easiest to blow your mind.
Yes, you did. You did blow my mind on that one.
I think I mentioned the Snow White thing to Jillian one day, and she was like, "Yeah, whatever." And when I told her the multiverse theory, I think she was done.
The multiverse, huh? Done with that one?
The multiverse theory of parallel universe. Yeah, I think you weren't having it. You didn't agree. I don't think.
I listened.
Yeah, but we also played a joke on everyone on social media last night. So Jillian's never seen a single minute, second, hour of any Marvel movie, or probably any superhero movie for that matter.
So I think I may be in the category with her. Now tell me, I may have seen one. So what's the one with Doctor Strange where he can manipulate? Is that one of those?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that one, but that's the only one.
And that's probably the most confusing one to watch if you're only going to pick one.
It was entertaining, but so I'm not too far off from the not seen a Marvel movie club.
So I told her to do a social experiment. I told her to, because there's like, if you watch them in order, there's almost like 20 of them. And Avengers Endgame is like the most recent one. Mm-hmm. So I said, you should get on Facebook and say, hey, I've never seen any Marvel movie and I'm about to watch Endgame. That'd be like the equivalent of watching like the most recent Star Wars without ever seeing any Star Wars.
Yeah, so that's like, that would like set a bunch of people off that are like big fans. That'd be like, what are you doing?
I wanted all the people to get in their comments and throw shade, but it kind of backfired because she's such a nice person. Everybody's really nice. They're like, oh yeah, I think you're going to like it, or, you should really go back and watch this one. And it, we meant it to be funny because she absolutely. She actually has no intention of watching it at all.
I'm just saying.
Never will.
I'm just saying, if you start it's 11:45. If you start at 12 o'clock, there. Well, hold on now. There's a lot of hours left in this weekend. You have probably just enough hours left in the weekend to start at the first one, and there's like 20 movies or something. So I'm just saying, you could be caught up by Monday morning. I'm just saying. I mean,
It would be like, welcome to Jillian's nightmare.
I mean, you don't have to get up until 1 a.m. Monday morning, right? So, just saying.
But how many of those hours could you watch murder mysteries? All of the hour. That's true.
Are you a big ID? Oh my gosh.
I like falling asleep.
Yeah. True crime stories. Or the
funny.
reenactments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get real into it, and then
I like them too because they put me to sleep.
It puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reading unfortunately puts me to sleep. I love
I know.
I love
I have
the-
to do
but
audiobooks.
I have to do audiobooks too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. What's wrong with us guys? Yeah. I'm the slowest reader in the world. That's what's wrong with me.
I like the smell of them too.
She like the smell of it, the
Like the
feel of it, the taste of it.
And
Gold.
I like the sound of turning.
I like gold. Is that the thing? Like the touch of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming to the live show.
Thank you.
You know, out of all of our friends, Ty is constantly going 100% supporting all different people. He was the first one here, not to record, but just to hang out and just be a part of the live show. And
Hey, what's better than hanging out with some great people on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely supporting. Yeah, I love everything you do. You have, heck, you have great guests.
Mm-hmm.
I care deeply about increasing the interconnectedness of community.
Right.
And one thing that you do is you highlight people in our community that really are just cool people. They're doing good things. It inspires other people. It's like, hey, that's somebody local that's doing some really cool stuff. Well, what can I do? So I think that that it's just a good thing. So it's a positive stuff you're putting out there, and very happy to support it.
Yeah. appreciate
Anybody
it.
else out there need to jump on the bandwagon and support too.
Yeah, be sure to go back and check out Ty's full episode. He's got one that you can learn more about him and some really cool facts. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all the different places. This podcast is actually made possible by Ty Coudrain. Every month, we're not in a coffee shop, we're in an actual studio. Studios have costs and fees, and we're lucky enough to have Ty Coudrain sponsor those studio costs, so that way it's a break even for me. And
Glad to do it, my friend. I enjoy every time we get to talk.
mm-hmm. Like I said, first of the month, I get that notification on the Cash App, and studio fees are paid. It's awesome because something like this it's pretty much self-funded, and just trying to put good content out there. I'm glad that we have people in the community that believe in what we're doing.
Yeah, there's
want
other
to push
production
it.
costs too he has, by the way. So he's not maxed out on sponsors.
Yeah,
There's other production costs he has that somebody can jump in and sponsor too. So somebody out there.
Yeah, I've got a Patreon page. Me and Ty know each other, so he just kind of does it more direct. But if you don't know me, just check out my Patreon at www.patreon.com/Tyler Knows Everything, all together one word. You can contribute as little as $5, and it'll help stuff like all this gear that I got to do live shows. So also got some merch coming soon. And
So it's September 28th. By October 1st, we need somebody jumping on as another sponsor. So
yeah,
coming up in a couple days.
we need the first $5 sponsor.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, my friend.
See you next time.
Good seeing you.
Nobody's in there like, hey, lean forward.
Do you ever? I know Ty listens to a lot of Joe Rogan. He's like, put that mic right up in your face.
Yeah.
Just away from your face.
Did you see the change.org? It's like you sign a petition for Joe Rogan to moderate the 2020 presidential debate.
That would be awesome. Just for the entertainment value
What
alone.
would you say? Did you say like, hey, Joey, look that up, or what's his
Right,
producer says,
right.
look that up?
Yeah, he's got young Jamie to fact check, and then I just want to hear him do it so like somebody can they on presidential debates they always interrupt each other, and Joe would be like, shut up and let him finish, and be a
Yeah. I need to go. He's got a lot of episodes. I need to go back and start watching.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with because they're so long, but
Right, that's the thing.
and it's hard to listen to multiple podcasts at the same time. You almost I have just enough time in the day during driving to probably listen to one.
Me too. And they're all kind of different.
I didn't know you were
Things.
recording. We're just chatting.
It's on.
Works. Working.
So what have you been up to today, John? Today's like a
Nothing
work
yet.
day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a work day.
I'm off today, but the realtors
you're-
are working.
You're working.
I'm working even when I'm not
That's all
working.
right. I'm about to. I got to go to one of my rental properties and prepare that for a tenant to move in. And so I've got a buddy help me with the truck. We're gonna be moving like washer and dryers around between properties and paint touch-ups.
Yeah, so get ready
Fun
for
stuff.
every single listing you have to have big bold letters. Did not flood.
Oh yeah,
for-
you're gonna see it everywhere.
It's the number one question.
But it's unfortunately people, they're calling, just get us out of here. They want out. I think
yeah.
this second one here was kind of the straw that broke the
They're
camel's back.
They're walking away from it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I heard that a lot of people that have insurance this time are just they're done. The
Yep.
first time they wanted to remodel,
Mhm.
and some of them did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
because they may have had a house that was built in the 70s, and
Right.
They,
So they used
updated.
that money and they're like, we're going to make it right. We're not moving again. We're going to do it big.
And then here 2 years later, they're
That's
they're
done.
just yeah,
They're
they're moving to Woodville.
So many people. I've gotten calls. I was talking to a lady just yesterday, stranger, never met her before. She called up and we kind of just started talking about her house. She's an inviter actually.
Mm.
So we can't do this anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
And I've heard that from a lot of people, even folks that are in the areas that it got close again. It may not have flooded this time around, but it got close. They're like, done.
Mm.
Give it back.
So you still got your gift card here?
Oh yeah.
Is it-
Yes.
Still got some dollars on it?
If you're the VIP section, you can come in and grab
Yeah.
grab one on me.
Yeah, if you're one of John's clients or
That's right.
a friend, you can
put it
come to Hardbean and tell him
I've got a tab. Just come put it on there.
put it on John Arcana's tab.
Just try to limit yourself, please. Don't buy the whole around for the bar.
Yeah. Or one cup of coffee, not like a cake. It's not for
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
you're on the go, grab a iced coffee.
Yeah.
Because they got some full blown lunches and
They
cakes.
do. Have you seen the cakes back there?
Mm-hmm.
Diane is.
Yeah.
She got some good stuff back there.
Yeah. It was super busy in here earlier.
But,
People
the morning rush.
But I'm hoping she can come on and talk for a few minutes about her business strategy.
Yes.
And because she has an interesting story.
Yes. She's give her the pickle. Give
The pickle
I
story.
said that way wrong.
The-
I apologize.
Yeah.
Her story is give them the pickle,
Mm-hmm.
which you just got to hear the story because it's out of context. It sounds a little
Right. And then
funny.
the inspirational messages on the to-go orders
Yes.
on the styrofoam.
Yes.
And then also how it even got started. It's, she was in retail
Mhm.
for many, many years
Mhm.
and basically retired from that. And this is her retirement, something to do.
Yeah. But I think what she does well is the hospitality part of it, which we were just talking about Tillman Fertitta before we got on here.
Yeah.
He said that everybody is in the hospitality business,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets that. You want everybody to have a good experience, and just because it might be outside of the rules or the norm, and so Tillman referenced remove no from your vocabulary. Somebody calls down at 11:30 and the hotel stops serving breakfast at 11, but they want eggs. Don't tell them no.
Right. Yeah.
Why are you telling me no?
Because they're going to
You're
tell somebody else about their good experience or their bad
Right.
experience.
Well, and you're going to throw a burger in the pan anyway. Why not throw eggs in there?
Mhm.
And so he kind of talks about that. And Diane here definitely. the
Yeah, Tillman's got
hospitality
a
part
new
of it
book
is
out,
insane.
Shut Up and Listen?
Yes.
Or something like
Yes.
that? Yeah. I'll have to
I
check
haven't,
that
I
out.
haven't read that one yet.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a Texan
He is.
right down the road.
Born in Galveston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so I'm trying to get my coffee in this morning, wake up so I can go real estating all day.
There you go.
We've got I'll have some showings tomorrow. And
Yeah, Sunday's a work day too, pretty much
Yeah,
for
it
because
never- it
people
never
want to see
ends.
the house when they're off. I guess.
Same thing. It was a elderly couple who flooded and are looking to get out, so we're looking in Kuntz and Lumberton.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's good to be in a business that's positively affected from
we've got the negative impacts too, but it's out of the bad, there's opportunity.
Yeah.
Which I think if that's just your mindset, you could say that about any tragedy or just negative occurrences. there's always opportunities that can come out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's some things that slow down. Like, for example, we're both raising money for the Real Men Wear Pink,
Mhm.
you know, for breast cancer. People are in ubi keratage trying to raise money, and
Yeah.
it's like the worst time to be asking
I know,
people for
I know, and it's the same thing that happened 2 years ago. It was about that time, and you know, all these
Yeah,
fundraisers
yeah.
going on, and we're trying to, you know, ubi caritas is for non-insured.
non-insured health care.
Yeah. So people that have no insurance, and then with the Real Men Wear Pink, obviously for breast cancer, like these are important fundraisers, and it kind of, you know, understandably so, slows down because people have got to take care of number one first.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But
Yeah, a lot of events coming up. What do you got coming? Pretty much the same.
the same, you know, the same slate. So we're gonna do Ubi Caritas.
Mhm.
We'll be there for that. The Cattle Barons Ball.
Yeah, that's a
Going
good
to
one. Big one.
Yeah, that's a big event. Do they have a band playing this year?
I think so.
Oh.
I'll have to check and see who it is.
But they're honoring the Corville family,
Yeah,
Big Rich
yeah.
and the gang.
And then SME Awards, Sales and
Yep.
Marketing Executives.
Yeah, with G&G Enterprises,
yeah.
the executives of the year. with
Pushed
Nakash.
back to November.
Yeah.
Change the venue because it was at the Elegante.
It was, which we they got more water this time, I think, than they got in Harvey.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had to move that, push that back, but that'll be a good one, honoring Natasha and Colin Garrett. It's event season around here, but I like it.
Yeah, and everything that got postponed is going to all come at the same time.
Yep.
Christmas
what about you?
parties.
What you got going?
Oh, just staying busy, testing out the first live event. So we were toying with the idea of maybe doing this one day in a Buc-ee's because there would be so many people from all walks of life.
True.
And you know, it's weird.
It's so clean, you could probably do it in one of the stalls.
This will surprise you. So I got here and I set all this up, and it was pretty busy. There was a long line, and you know me, when for public speaking, I'm like never nervous.
Right.
I was like nervous today.
Really?
Yeah.
Different.
Like I didn't want to ask
Something a little
people.
different?
Yeah, I guess so. Now I'm a little more comfortable,
Right.
but I was nervous to ask people like, "Hey, do you want to sit down and chat?" You know, the goal is to have, of course, all my friends are here, but I wanted to have some random people
Right.
just show up and wonder what I'm doing,
And get 'em on the mic.
and then they would want to talk for about 5 minutes. So
That's pretty cool.
but you kind of have to, which at Buc-ee's that would happen because
Definitely.
you would have the numbers of people where 100 people that don't want to do it versus one that do, and that's like every 5 minutes.
Right.
These are just people waking up, getting their coffee,
Yeah,
and
a little
like
groggy.
Yeah, don't talk to me until I get my coffee.
That's how I am.
And they're more just trying to stay out of the way. So yeah, so we've been just testing the waters.
Yeah.
I'd like to try to do it in different areas of Southeast Texas, maybe once a quarter.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, maybe doing it at an event.
I'm sure some business owners would like to have you set up in there too.
Yeah, I think so. Coffee's pretty easy because a lot of people are just hanging out, and so I thought that might be a good.
Right.
Maybe try it at the Avenue, maybe do it at Eclectic, and
Yeah.
but yeah, put it out on Facebook for an event to see if people would want to show up and maybe announce stuff, because it's a little bit different than a full-blown episode,
Right.
because a full episode that takes an hour is going to dive off into different topics and be super random. And some people message me because they have something coming up and they want to, it's more like a, hey,
Like
this
an
is-
announcement.
yeah, and that would be more something that would be good at a live event versus a show, because I'm going to be like over their heads
Right,
with
right.
all my crazy interesting questions.
Right. Yeah, they're not going to be
So-
prepared for that for sure.
I thought about just saying, yeah, come on, and maybe surprise them,
Yeah.
to catch them off guard, and they're like, they would probably sit over there and think, what have I gotten myself
Yeah.
into?
Well, they'd be sitting here with just
Yeah, most of the episodes are branching out from the circle of friends, but I have gotten some people on recently that I didn't know, like
Right.
the principal from BISD.
Yeah, I was listening to that
That's
yesterday.
where she's walking up to the studio, and that's the first time I met her. And so it's really cool to do that, because
Yeah.
you're getting to know them throughout the course of the episode.
I didn't know she was from Louisiana.
Yeah,
Learned that
but,
about
you
her
know,
listening.
and it had a cool story about basically like flunking out of McNeese and going to the military.
Yeah, you don't think about somebody in
No, when she's
education
a
like flunking
PhD,
out.
yeah, a PhD of education, and
Right.
has that origin story.
Just goes to show you what a little inspiration will do for your.
Yeah, she said that, the military whipped her into shape, mentally
That's
and
awesome.
physically.
That's awesome. Cool.
Alrighty, man. Well, I'll let you get back to your day. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Hey,
Here every morning, probably.
yeah, you can definitely find me here. I'm a frequent flyer. You catch me here about 8:45 in the morning. I'll be here. Also, www.johnarcanarealtor.com, or you can call me direct at 409-656-8267. As an announcement, I've just been telling people that we work with during the storm happenings. We're wanting to help people, and I'm not saying call me and I want to list or sell your house or help you buy one. I want people to call me so you can utilize our contacts for the contractors and the insurance people and like people for rollouts, and we can organize getting supplies. That's what I want people to call me so we can help you with, because if you're going to get a referral from us for a contractor or something like that, you can trust them. They're not going to walk off and take your money, which is important now, because it happens.
Yeah, really, if there's any service you need, you can probably ask John.
Yeah,
because
we've got contacts.
He's gone through and vetted them so much. Just the other day, I asked you for a service that I needed around the house, and it was one that you'd used in the past, and you said, well, I'd rather you put you with this person because things change from businesses, and so that's something that I wouldn't have known had I not asked you.
Exactly.
And I would have just kind of gone through the list and called them and may have had a negative experience if I didn't ask ahead of time.
Right. So call us up. We want to help you out. We'll put
Are you on
with our
Twitter?
people. I am not, actually.
And you almost don't need to. But
I used to be.
Well, we're in this bubble.
Yeah.
And for some reason in Southeast Texas, nobody our age is Twittering, and
Right.
Twitter is huge everywhere else.
Right.
And Southeast Texas is so Facebook heavy. I mean, people almost don't even have a business website because they're doing it all on Facebook and using that for event announcements. And so I'm on this mission to try to increase my Twitter presence, just so maybe people in other states and nationally will, follow the podcast. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody around here does it.
Because I'm pretty sure I still have an account. I just stopped using it because for my business, it's very local, right? All my clients are local. I can't help people in a different state for what I do for a living.
That's true.
And so I'm worried about marketing and reaching those people. And so wherever my consumers are, that's where I'm going to go. And people don't realize how much time it takes to dedicate to the social media aspect of marketing and putting yourself out there and content, and creating it, uploading it, pushing it out. And so I just cut that one out because nobody's on there here.
I basically copy and paste, from Instagram to Facebook to LinkedIn to Twitter.
If I was something where a national presence or just a larger presence outside of my community in Southeast Texas, I would totally be on it and growing that, like you said. But so Facebook, John Arcana, obviously, and then the John Arcana real estate team, and then on Instagram it's at John Arcana _realtor. And sometimes I put different things on Instagram than I do on Facebook a lot of times. So
different
cool stuff.
versions.
Yeah.
And then you've got your wife Amber that broke the internet with her episode.
Yes.
I still looking back. There's no rhyme or reason for which episodes really get more views or downloads than the other.
Right.
But it's still the most downloaded and most viewed of all time. Of all time.
There's a spike on that
I think
thing.
it may have been her efforts to promote it as well.
Maybe.
Because you never know how much your guest is going to promote it to their circle. Because I'll promote it, but it's the same people that usually see it and pick up a few followers depending on who the guest might be. But she did a really good job of having her own following with the Arcana Chronicles and then pushing it out. Yeah. And there's this huge spike whenever I go and look at the metrics.
What I also think part of it is too is the Arcana Chronicles just follows our life as parents and the kids, and that is universal. That's everybody for the most part. You either were a child or you have a child.
Yeah,
right. And so you want to feel like you have those shared experiences, and they can see what we've got going on, and that's universal. A lot of what we do is more business oriented on the show, or your guests might be in a certain industry, so people in that industry or those followers are going to go check that episode out. But babies are universal, man. Babies and parenting is universal, so I think everybody wanted to check that one out and feel like we're all in it together.
Yeah, Clint Martin mentioned to me because he has a boy and girl twins, and they're several years older than yours.
Yeah, we know them.
And so he told me, he was like, man, every story that she told, we went through the same thing. And so it was definitely relatable.
Right. And I'm surprised that more people haven't put that out there like Amber has. 'Cause that's why I know our stories, they're far-fetched, but they're not. We're not the only ones that experience it.
Yeah, the coolest thing she said, or kind of put it on the sneak peek, was you see everybody on social media that's sunshine and rainbows. You know, oh, I love my spouse so much. You know, here's a picture of my kids in portrait mode, and that it's not really real.
It's not real
a
life.
depiction of real life. So she puts out there, and she's a little bit vulnerable about it to reveal those struggles and challenges, and people thank her because they think I'm struggling too.
Right.
Am I alone?
Right.
Because everybody else looks so perfect.
Right. And
no, everybody's going through.
That's why I feel like the following has gotten so big so quickly. It's for that reason. You know, the shared experience and the shared struggle, right? The struggle is real.
Yeah, that's right. All right, man. Well, I'll let you get back to your day.
All right.
I'm going to see if I can get one of the other friends on here.
Yeah, get him on here.
You got Ty, who said he didn't want to talk, and then he's talking nonstop.
Ty Coudrain is over here, guys. He said he didn't want to appear.
Talking to Jillian over here. She's probably the person on the airplane when the movie Airplane with the guys talking and they're all committing suicide. Like, this guy won't shut up.
Yeah. Ty Coudrain over here is like, I'm just not feeling it this morning. I haven't coffee. I don't know what I'm talking about. My brain's not ready, and he's been rambling over here, doing math equations.
Jillian, you want to tell everybody about your 24-hour shift from 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, talk about that.
You can hear me from over here?
No, you can
Come on over.
switch. Yeah, like, well, like as I've gotten to know her, it's kind of cool because her as a journalist and everybody else, they love journalism so much that it's like no question when she gets the call at 11 to go in. You know, they just do it, and the whole time they're on the news, like when I was watching, I couldn't turn it off because they were like so into getting the information out to the people, and they just love what they do, all of them. But you're still human, and you still have to sleep at some point. So, yeah.
I've done a lot of sleeping when I'm not at work the last week. I've been non-existent.
Yeah, so I guess take us back to, it was a Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it was Wednesday night when it started raining real hard. I was asleep.
And you had your alarm set for
1, which
But
is
you-
when I would normally wake up.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
Right? But you got the phone call
About
at
11:30-ish. Yeah, they're like, you need to get
PM.
in. Yeah, 11:30 p.m. You need to be in the next 30 minutes or so. Or you're probably not going to be able to get in.
So I would equate that to, like, say you would normally go to work at 9 a.m. And you wake up at maybe 6 a.m. What if your boss called you at like 3?
Yeah.
That's kind of like what is going on here.
Yeah, pretty much. But like, you know, in the back of my mind, we knew this weather was moving in. It developed so fast and was so much worse than what I think we initially imagined. But yeah. And then from that phone call on, man, I don't think I slept again. So that was 11:30 p.m. on a Wednesday night. I don't think I went back to sleep till 4:30 or 5 p.m. the next.
Yeah.
No, that's when I got home. So I think it was like 6 p.m. the next day when I
Right.
finally laid down.
Because you normally get off at 9:30 a.m.
Right.
But you're getting relieved by the noon crew.
Well, normally, so we were on the air nonstop because it was such a big event. So we were on the air from, let's see, I got in, I think we went on the air right before 3 a.m. And we were on the air nonstop till 2:30 p.m. I think we took a break at like 11, but I mean, it was nonstop that whole time.
And because of the floodwaters, the other crew couldn't get there.
Right. Which normally what we do for storm coverage is we would rotate, you know, a few hours, Dan and I, and, you know, Dana or whoever's there. And then a few hours later, you rotate so you can at least get a nap or something, you know, take a little break. But because the other crews were, you know, flooded into their homes or stuck wherever they were, yeah, nobody could get in to relieve us. So it was all on us. And, you know, there were some in the production crew, which is behind the scene, they were awake for 24 straight hours because you can't put a show on the air without, I'll call them button punchers. They do way more than that.
Yeah.
But for the, you know,
Behind the scenes.
yeah, behind the scenes, getting the camera shots, there was nobody else to relieve them at all. So, I mean, they got no breaks.
Wow. And so they basically said, the news director says you got to stay on the air. And so they're cutting into the soap operas and cutting into
Right.
the
Well,
daytime TV.
actually, our news director was at a news director conference, so he was in contact with us, but he wasn't actually there because normally he would be at the station too.
Right.
So yeah, we were nonstop with no commercials for hours, and then finally about 11 we started putting some commercial breaks, and then we went to cut-ins. But yeah, we were on the air. The last cut-in I did was at 2:30.
Yeah.
And then it's like when people finally were able to get in, we had to brief them, here's the situation, so that we could make that transition.
And we're notorious in Southeast Texas of, we have the 2 news stations. We always get them confused. But just for clarification, you're at, what we call Channel 6. The other station, they're the ones that flooded.
Yeah,
so
Channel
they were
12
doing the
took
morning
on
show.
water. So, I mean, I can't even imagine. It's stressful enough trying to get all that information out and then in the middle of being evacuated. So my heart goes out to all of them. And
Yeah.
hopefully they'll be able to get things repaired over there fast. But
Yeah, so at that point, you guys were the only ones on the news for a little bit. I guess they had to kind of switch to maybe social media for a few hours, and then they had an alternate location.
Yeah, and I think Houston took over their coverage for a little bit till they
Okay.
could find an alternate location and get set up. So
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
But yeah, you settled back in now, a little bit more of a
Yeah.
normal schedule.
Yeah, I mean, this week was pretty abnormal, I would say, because you have all the post-storm things. There's still a lot going on, and there will be for a long time. But I think finally, at least as far as like shifts and schedules going, it's back to normal.
Yeah. Well, anything else you have going on? What have you been up to lately?
Well, let's see. A lot of cool fundraisers coming up. Month of October is going to be really busy. There's a lot going on in Southeast Texas.
Right.
So let's see. We've got the Nederland Chamber of Commerce event coming up. Boots and Bulls, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Boots and Bulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
The celebrity waiter event, which was supposed to be 2 weeks ago or last week with the storm, so we moved it. So that's in October. We have the Ubi Caritas date night auction coming up. They're a great organization. And then also there's the Gift for Life for Breast Cancer Month, but then there's also Making Strides. So there's 2 races coming up in October.
Yeah, color runs this
This next Saturday. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll try to do that one.
Yeah.
And wear my nice clothes.
I did that one for the first time last year. I'd never been, so that's a fun event, and a lot of people come out for that too.
I'm gonna try to find the Super Soaker water guns.
Yeah.
A really big rifle Super Soaker.
Yeah.
Spray paint it pink and white and put Cancer Killer on it, and see if people want to take pictures with it as a prop.
Good
Just
idea.
Something fun.
Yeah, that is
Cool.
cool. That's awesome. Be fun. So yeah, October's busy, but in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. Well, thanks for stopping by the coffee shop.
Yeah,
and
always a
participating in
pleasure.
our live show.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to drink the coffee.
Yeah. See you next time. Yeah.
What up?
Yeah, this is the first day of using all this stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm still kind of learning. But hey, everybody, we're here with SoundCloud rapper Justin Starr. So the studio's coming along.
Yeah.
Looking really cool.
Thanks, man. It's a work in progress.
Justin, of course, has been working on a podcast of his own on the sauce, and getting spending the majority of the time getting everything just right.
Yeah.
All the devices.
I get it from my dad.
the decor,
I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that.
but huge potential. I mean, you've got professional lighting, backdrops, green screen. Do you have the green screen yet?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once it gets up and running, there's
Yeah,
huge potential there.
It should be fun. I'm still learning how to do all of it, but I pretty much got it down. I just
The coolest part is it's kind of man cave-ish, and
Yeah.
you can hang out for like a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm always in a hurry. Like in a rented studio, or maybe somebody coming in behind me. None of the decor is mine. I'm just using the space. Yours is more homely, a little more relaxed. And,
that was the plan. Anyways,
yeah.
I'm making it a bigger production than it needs to be, but
Yeah.
whatever.
And because of where it's located, you don't really most carriers don't have cell phone service out there, so
Nope.
you're really in a hole of just focusing on that show. I mean, you're not
Yeah.
getting any notifications. It's kind of a unique concept.
Yeah, it should be fun when I get
Yeah.
done. When I get there.
Yeah, for sure. What have you been up to lately? Anything new?
Man, working,
Mm-hmm.
working on the ubi carrot toss with your better half over here, and
Yeah. What's your package going to be?
helicopter hog hunt.
That's one of the most popular ones I've
It
heard so
is.
far. So,
It is. It should be good.
so you can be a chopper gunner for a day.
Yeah. I think you get to pick from one of 3 ranches or something in South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It should be good.
Yeah, because hogs are a big nuisance around here.
Oh yeah.
they tear everything up.
They're tearing up my yard constantly.
Yeah, and it sucks that they're not really that good to eat.
Nope.
You know, when they're wild like that, the good bacon and pork come from like a pig that you raised, but these wild boars, it's just not good meat.
Well,
So,
yeah, and a lot of them are just not. Yeah, it's not good
yeah.
for the most part.
So, have you done anything lately with the cannon?
Yeah, I shot some watermelons the other day.
The cannon, if you don't know, is a gun that will shoot an entire can of anything.
Yeah, Coke,
Coke,
Dr. Pepper.
White Claw.
Yeah, yeah.
Does the size
Well, yeah.
change? Because some cans
No.
are.
It's just one. You know,
What's the firing mechanism?
it's basically. It's an AR
Okay.
looking type gun, but on the front, instead of having a barrel, it's got just a giant tube that a Coke
Right.
can fits in. But you've got a blank.
Okay.
You've got a blank.
So it's
round in there.
using the gunpowder explosion to launch the can. Wow.
It's pretty cool. Sometimes the can explodes out of the barrel.
Right.
So it's not very accurate. So it's actually kind of hard to hit.
Does
something.
it ever spin like end over end?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like
Yeah.
a rifle bullet spirals,
Right.
and that's what makes it stay straight.
Yeah. So if it busts when it comes out of the barrel, it'll start. You don't know which way it's gonna spin, but
That's even more exciting.
yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
My brother bought of course, didn't last long because we ended up breaking them because we were just trying to shoot everything out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Bought these little cups that go in there so you could literally put anything
Oh wow.
in there. And we were shooting golf balls and whatever we could find, honestly. And then, but the best thing, honestly, to shoot out of those, avocados.
Avocados?
Yes. That came out of the barrel faster than anything.
Because it seems like it'd be mushy. I guess.
You would think, but I think because it's kind of softer,
Mm-hmm.
but it still has that hard, seed in the middle.
Yeah.
Came out
You should try to
fast.
make some artwork with it, like hang up
I-
a
that's
white
a
sheet
good idea.
and then shoot different things at the sheet, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good idea.
fruits or maybe put some fruit in front of it
Yeah.
and shoot the fruit with a can,
Yeah. So yeah.
because it'll explode a watermelon.
No, faux show.
Mm-hmm.
I got some tannerite though made up that I need to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. How's the Dayton scene in Southeast Texas looking?
I don't even care about that.
You know, it's always a challenge.
It's not. It's not. I mean, we don't. It's not much to talk about.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out Justin's full episode on my podcast. We go into some really cool things. He's a Navy veteran that used to be on a minesweeper ship called the Avenger. We talked about an amazing story of how he, from 2 years ago, from Harvey, lost 100 pounds. From Harvey, basically spent a year gaining 100 pounds and then spent that second year losing 100 pounds. And probably now, best shape of your life,
Yeah,
physically,
pretty much.
mentally, and able to, fitness-wise, able to do more. I think we mentioned on that show, it was hard to do basic stuff like tie your shoes or
Yeah.
when you're carrying around 100, and it's like an extra person.
Yeah, I was almost using the Velcro grandpa shoes for a minute there. I was like,
and we talked about your cooking that you starting to do now, almost like a once a month private chef type gig for a group of people that's exclusive. And it's if you haven't seen some of his pictures on Instagram, you got to check it out because there's some amazing looking presentations that he's doing, really creative stuff with food and really cool options that are healthy too. Some of them mostly keto.
Yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's been fun.
So what kind of coffee did you get today?
Just
Straight.
Yeah, medium roast. Black. I'm simple.
I got the iced coffee.
Nah.
Yeah. So I can drink it faster.
You're such a white girl.
Yeah, you can't drink hot coffee quick. You can't chug it. So.
You're wrong about that. You can.
I don't have the asbestos mouth that you guys.
I do.
Yeah. Had any landscaping gigs recently?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep myself as busy as I want to.
I'll have to do that this weekend. I've got to finish out that drainage project that I got going on. So.
How's that going?
So the one you did at your house, was it a French drain?
No, I
Mine's
actually
gonna be
put
a sump pump.
you I put
a catch basin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And then went out the back of my property with it.
Yeah, so I've got to take it to the street. So
but I had to do 2 of them. And then, it was not fun because I had to dig mine about 4 foot deep at the end of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
just to get it gravity flow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, probably not, but I wanted to make sure the water was getting out of there. So,
right. Yeah. Speaking of water, man, we got to get your dad Rob on here one day.
I know.
Well, he really needs his own episode because he's got so much to say about. He knows more about water than anybody that I know that's gotten into consulting, and he can tell you exactly what happened in Flint, Michigan, what went wrong, what they should have done, what they still need to do. But he's also into competitive shooting, knows a lot about firearms and reloading.
Oh yeah,
and just an interesting guy all around. Done some really cool stuff, and the water department is really responsible for modern day health because when everybody's drinking contaminated water and they're all sharing diseases, that it's really modern day plumbing and water treatment that increase human life expectancy almost more than modern medicine did in that short amount of time. When everybody's drinking out of a well, and that back in the days where people were dying when they're 30 and 40, and that was basically the life expectancy. It was because contaminated water.
Yeah. I tried to get my sister to come with me today, but
yeah, that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
So his sister was actually in the room on TV when you were watching the Mueller hearings.
Yeah.
And if you have a person testifying right in front of you and there's all these people in the background, she was back there.
Yep.
And how was she able to get access to something like that?
She's on a committee for cybersecurity.
Okay.
So I can't remember exactly why she was there, but she was there.
Yeah, for sure.
With that committee.
Yeah, I'm sure all those people in the background come from many different important things that
well,
are
except
related
for
to their
Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot
she's
about
just
that.
there for some reason.
But one day when she's got more time, we'll have to get her an episode.
She just came in for the weekend, so she's just trying to spend time with family. So she went with my mom to the beach with my cousins.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming out to the live show, and thanks for chatting for a little bit. We'll splice all these together and put everybody on one episode.
There you go.